Wow. In today's age, Rubenesque is a polite way of saying plump or big. And in the 1600s, Peter Rubens coined this term when he painted portraits of full-figured women. These same portraits are still seen as some of the most beautiful art ever created in history. And it was in the 1920s, with the advent of movies, that women began to be seen as much more than a face. They were dancing and taking part in sports, fashion turned to a slim silhouette, and the Victorian ideal that we should look frail and sickly began to fade away. It was in the 1950s that Hollywood brought us Norma Jean Baker, or as the world would come to know her, Marilyn Monroe. Her beauty is often spoken about and referred to because of her large bust and average-sized waist and legs. She is also referred to as one of the most beautiful women of all time. And in the 1960s, Twiggy, model and actress, personified the swinging 60s mod culture in London. Her androgynous looks, large eyes, short hair, and incredibly thin waist helped her to be named the Face of 1966 and British Woman of the Year. And in the 1980s, it was Christie Brinkley who took the world by storm when she appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated 3 consecutive times. Her long blonde hair and slim physique was coined the all-American girl look, and everyone across the country wished to be her. Today, we have Kim Kardashian. Her large butt, very small waist, and almost perfectly symmetrical face, among other things, have boys wishing that they could have her, and girls wishing that they could be her. These Hollywood stars continue to set the standard for the rest of the world today. Men like Ryan Gosling and women like Beyoncé. And even internet sensation couples like Alexis Ren and Jay Alvarez continue to set the standard for what people think that they need to be in order to gain approval. And while there is no doubt that those people are pleasing to the aesthetic senses, the truth is that when we look at them, what we see is not real. Yes, they are real people, but no, they are not an accurate representation of what we all need to be. And today, in 2015, I am 17, and I am a completely ordinary kid. But I've also had the rare privilege of being a beauty queen. And I know what you are thinking. If you were a beauty queen, why are you wearing a cowboy hat and a collared shirt? And that is a fantastic question. It is because I was not just a beauty queen, I was a beauty queen in the sport of rodeo. Beauty queens in the sport of rodeo are judged on 5 main criteria: horsemanship, personality, rodeo knowledge, our ability to be photogenic, and most importantly, we are judged on our appearances. So what's wrong with the picture? Because when you look at me, I am not Kim Kardashian, I am not Beyoncé, I am not even Marilyn. Yet for a year, I was a representative for an industry based upon beauty. And it was those factors. The fact that I don't look like those women is why I face so many hardships. I couldn't find clothes or dresses to fit my size because girls like me had never really existed in that world before. And when I would go to companies and say, hey, can you custom make me something? They would say, oh, no. I don't make clothes for girls your size. And that always stood out to me because those people did not know me. They just happened to know a set of numbers that represented my physical appearance. But that was enough for them to take away any chance that I might have had. At one point, I was told, Michelle, you are pretty, but you are not queen pretty. And that was my day to remember. And I kind of liked that day because it's the reason why I'm standing here today. It led me on this investigation, and it helped me create a question. What is beauty? And why are some of us allowed to claim it, but others of us are not? Because as you can see from what I just showed you at the beginning of this talk, beauty is a static thing that has evolved over thousands of years. So why do we consistently allow for girls like me to live their lives limiting themselves because they do not think that they live up to the standard that society has set for them? We are living in a world where men and women can sit and look back on their lives and say, I didn't have the career or the life that I wanted because I wasn't handsome enough or I wasn't pretty enough. And we have models and actresses and actors who stand and tell us every day that looks don't matter. But it's after the fact that they've cashed out on their own, right? But what about my generation? It isn't too late for us. In my lifetime, I am going to see the definition of beauty change over and over again. And every single time, it will reach a new impossible standard that is only able to be met by the few who are lucky enough to hit the genetic lottery for that year. When we make beauty something that only a few are allowed to claim, we are at the same time saying that we are going to allow ourselves as a society to let something as superficial as image hold a great amount of power over us. Because we all have the ability to do something absolutely incredible. But when we feel like we aren't pretty enough, we stop ourselves before we even begin to try. We are a social society. Our first interaction with a person does not take place with the first thing that we say to them. It's when we set our eyes on them. And every subsequent interaction after that will be hindered by our initial response. This is a natural reaction that we all have. And it takes place hundreds of thousands of times every single day across the world. In the classroom, in the workplace, especially amongst strangers on the street. And it is not just hindering us as individuals, it is hindering us as a society. What would happen if we chose to put our fate in our feelings rather than in our eyes? Because our world faces enough turmoil as it is. And most of the issues that we encounter, we don't have any control over. But the one thing that we do have control over is whether or not we are going to base our assumptions of people on their image. When I wake up every morning, I do two things. The first thing that I do is curse the public school system for thinking that they can start at 7:45 in the morning. But the second thing that I do is I remind myself to live life blind, to not go into situations based upon how they look, but to go into situations based upon how they make me feel. Because when I choose to live life blind, I am at the same time agreeing to let the world and all of the people in it give me something great. My gift to you today is the reassurance, or maybe even the realization, that you are incredibly beautiful. Because after all, we are all sitting in this room today, not because we bought a ticket, but because we are the product of 3.8 billion years of trial and error. So why do we not act our age? But my second gift to you is the reminder to live every day blindly. And if it is not for the benefit of yourself, do it for the benefit of all of the teenage girls and boys just like me in the world. Because through collaboration, we can make acceptance our new standard. Thank you very much.